I can't even believe I'm about to say this, but Batman Arkham Knight is 5 years old. I remember when this game was coming out over the summer of 2015, this was one of the most anticipated games of that year. We were all waiting for it to come out after it had been pushed back and delayed so many times, and then the game finally dropped. Everyone went crazy for this game. And a big part of that hype was the Batmobile. But that's something that needs a lot more time to cover, so we'll come back to that later. One of the trailers showed Two-Face, who I was glad to see come back, Return of Azrael. They showed us that cliffhanger in Arkham City where he told Batman he would be consumed by flames, and I really wanted to see where that storyline was going. The most interesting character that everybody wanted to see was what we were told was a brand new idea, an all-new created character, someone we have never even heard of before, the Arkham Knight. But if you're like me and you're a Jason Todd fan, you knew who that was from the minute you heard him talk in the trailers. Then there was the idea that Scarecrow would be stepping up to the plate and taking the role as the main villain this time. Scarecrow's always had one of those interesting powers where he preys on your fears, so seeing where he was going to go with it was something that was very interesting. But the strangest thing is after the game came out, people seemed disappointed. A lot of people thought that the game didn't live up to the expectations. They thought Arkham City was better, and they just overall weren't happy with the way that the story went. But hey, I'm not here to bash the game. People have done that enough over the years that it's been out. I'm here just to see how well the game holds up 5 years later. Alright, let's get this out of the way right now. Batman Arkham Knight is one of the most gorgeous games I have ever seen. They put in a lot of work for this game to look as good as it did in 2015, but for it to look this good now, that does say a lot. One of my favorite scenes to look at in this game is the opening cutscene.
Tonight, Gotham's relying on one man to save us all.
The rain, the details on the characters when they're talking, the way that the water runs down Batman's face as he's speaking. This game has so much detail in the graphics, it's really impressive. Sometimes I even catch myself looking at the side of the Batmobile when Batman's talking to Alfred because you can see the water running down the side of the car. And the detail that they put into the animation is just really crisp. Even when Batman's talking to Alfred on his little wrist communicator, whatever that thing's called, you see his eyes change color based on who he's talking to, and it looks more like a whitish color. Another scene that is my favorite in this game is the way Batman suits up. From the way that he puts on the suit to the rain running down Batman's cape, this game is beautiful. And one thing that I notice a lot of people never mention in this game is if you look closely at Scarecrow's mouth, you can actually see that it's been torn to pieces. And that's a good callback to what happened to him in Arkham Asylum when Killer Croc pulled him down into the water. It's great to see that they keep up with their continuity that way. Now we're moving on to the most controversial part of the game that I believe, and that is the story. Now, the way that the story opens up, we start off as a police officer, and Scarecrow has one of his minions use a little bit of toxin in the diner to infect everyone in there, and then we get to see exactly how much damage this really does to the mind of regular people. We get to see how their mind is warped and just exactly what's going on in their head when they start tearing each other apart in the diner. This not only shows just how dangerous Scarecrow can be, but it does make him feel like an actual threat. Seeing the level of chaos and destruction he brought within a matter of minutes makes it so easy to get behind Scarecrow as an actual threat, and I love that. This makes it much easier for me to get behind him as the main villain. Finally, the Joker is gone, and we need somebody to take his spot. And after the opening scene of showing what Scarecrow's toxin can really do, it makes it seem like he's really somebody not to be messed with.
Among the handful of survivors was a police officer.
This demonstration used just 5 ounces of my latest toxin. Tomorrow, this will seem like child's play. Gotham, this is your only warning.
Now, an introduction like that is exactly what Scarecrow needed. After seeing him in Arkham Asylum, he had those little segments where, he would put the toxin through the vents and Batman would breathe it in. And, you would see stuff that Batman was afraid of, but he never felt like he would actually give Batman a challenge. Seeing him clear out the city like that shows that he's dead serious, and this time he's not messing around. He's coming for Batman. And what Scarecrow's doing this time that's very different from what the Joker did is Scarecrow's actually working with someone who's just after Batman as much as he is. In Arkham City, the Joker was at odds with Two-Face and Penguin. But this time, Scarecrow's got his partner, the Arkham Knight, and he has one of the best introductions in this game I've ever seen.
Time to die, old man. In death, he has nothing left to fear. Keep him away from Ace Chemicals. Your vengeance will come. This ends tonight.
Friend of yours?
Stay here, and I'll go find out.
I gotta admit, the Arkham Knight does look pretty sick in this game. Even though we all know who it is, they're still putting in a lot of effort to build up his character. But we're not even done with Scarecrow yet. He gets so much love in the early section of the game. So now Batman has to blast his way through tanks, fight his way through Ace Chemicals, all to get to Scarecrow to stop him from creating this explosion that'll infect all of Gotham with their darkest fears. And the best part about this is, when you meet up with Scarecrow, he has a surprise waiting for Batman.
Do you really think you've won? Fear makes you predictable. I am in complete control.
How do I shut it down?
Let me go, or she dies.
What are you talking about?
Barbara Gordon.
Have you found him?
Get out of there, now!
Relax. No one knows I'm here.
Nothing hurts like losing one of the family. Knowing that there is no one to blame but yourself.
Now that was a really big surprise that I didn't see coming when I first played this game. The fact that Scarecrow went after Barbara is something that still amazes me. He knew who to go after. Even the Joker went after Barbara, but he admitted that it was an accident. He had no clue that Barbara was working for Batman. But Scarecrow knew, and that shows just how dangerous he really is. Now this part of the game I really do like, because it shows just how much of a hero Batman really is. He has to take the canisters out that's going to reduce the toxin radius, and he's doing this just to save Gotham, and he knows that it could affect him. But this is the part of the game that really gets under my skin.
Miss me?
So the Joker's back. But wait a second, didn't we just burn you in the beginning of the game? Wasn't the beginning of the game to talk about how Batman's different now because the Joker's gone? And no?
Gotham,
No, you're back. So now this becomes a Batman and Joker game. The Arkham Knight and Scarecrow take a back seat. For a big portion of the game, I actually forgot Scarecrow was even in it. And I'm dead serious. Dead serious. And one thing that always confused me about this game is that there's not one Joker. There's 5 Jokers. There's Christina Bell, there's the Goliath, Johnny Charisma, and then there's Henry Adams, who Batman believes is the cure for the Joker's blood this time around. Now Batman is also the Joker, which means everything that happened in Arkham City now makes no sense because Batman is still infected with the Joker's blood somehow, and the Joker is now taking over his system.
Look at me! I'm amazing! And this body! I can't believe how strong it is!
Oh, what is going on with this game? Don't get me wrong, over the course of the game, the Joker does have some of the funniest one-liners.
Gotham's choking on Scarecrow's crazy juice, and your popularity's falling faster than the Flying Graysons on Bring Your Kid to Work Day. There's nothing left to fight for.
Throughout the game, you see Scarecrow's toxin effect on Batman get even stronger. At one point, he even hallucinates Barbara shooting herself. Then we move on to what I like to call the Bat Jail, where all the Jokers escape and you have to round them up one by one, but this time you get to do it with Robin, which is pretty fun to play as. And while you're doing this, the Joker makes little comments about Jason Todd as well as showing you just what he did to him. Now the setup here is very, very obvious. I remember when I first played this game thinking to myself, I know exactly why they're doing this, and I hope I'm wrong, but I know I'm right. So once we round up all the Jokers, we then head back to the cells, and we see that they've all been killed, and Henry was fooling Batman the entire time because he himself has become the Joker. And it's at this point when Robin learns that Batman is also turning into the Joker, and he and Batman come to the agreement that Batman should go into the cells because he would be too dangerous to stop. But then Batman pulls a quick one on Robin, and he comes out of the cells and puts Robin in them because the Arkham Knight is about to launch the Cloudburst. The Arkham Knight succeeds at doing this, which creates this huge toxin area that affects Batman much more than before. Now he's seeing Joker everywhere, and Batman and Ivy have to team up to remove the toxin from all over the city. This then leads into a fight with the Arkham Knight. Right after this, he shows his face, and he is...
Who are you?
You really have no idea, do you, Bruce?
Jason.
Dun dun dun!
And that's the big reveal of the game. The Arkham Knight is Jason Todd. Who would have guessed it? Once you fight Jason though, you really do feel bad for him. He seems more hurt than actually wanting to kill Batman. He just seems as if he's more emotionally hurt that Batman left him there and just got a new Robin instead of continuing to look for him. Seeing the scene actually makes you think that maybe him and Batman could build that bond back that they once had, but as soon as Batman turns to tell Alfred, Jason just disappears. Then we move on to the very end of the game, where Scarecrow shows the entire world who Batman is, and Batman and the Joker have one final confrontation. And the way that Batman cures himself of the Joker's blood,
Goodbye, Joker.
he forgets him? No, I'm serious. That's it. He forgets the Joker.
I need you.
Again, I'm gonna save this till the end. Batman gets over his fear of becoming the Joker. We lock Scarecrow away and that's it. The city is safe. We give Alfred one more call to let him know that this is it. This is the end of the Batman. I'll give my final thoughts on the story at the end of the video. For now, we move on to the final section of the game. When it comes to gameplay, what can I really say about this game besides it's still as fun as it was the first time I played it? Batman hits harder, moves faster, and now you can do combo attacks with the Batmobile as well as fight with Robin, Nightwing, and Catwoman. And I will say, these parts of the game I actually had the most fun with. Switching between characters in mid-combo is one of the best things that they put in the game, and I really do like this feature a lot. Sometimes I catch myself playing as Robin more than anybody else because he just feels like the best character to use. The takedowns are amazing to look at. Some of these dual takedowns are Batman's power bombing people and comboing off of air attacks with Nightwing is really sick. And the stealth takedowns look even better than before. All the gadgets are still fun and amazing, and the takedowns with those are really cool to look at as well. Another feature in this game that I really did enjoy were the chases with the Batmobile. There's times when I'm chasing down these criminals and it just gets so intense, and there's missiles flying everywhere, you're dodging fire, you're knocking people off the side of the road. The chases with the Batmobile are amazing, and I think they did a great job with those. Now, the gameplay is amazing, and I do love almost everything about it, but there are two things in particular that I absolutely did not like. For one, the Riddler races. Now, I'm not saying that this takes away from the game, but the Riddler races with the Batmobile are just the most annoying thing that I had to deal with. And this time around, I did not want to be bothered getting 100% in the game, only because I couldn't deal with the Riddler races anymore. I think I got about to the third or fourth one where I just started throwing my controller and I was just fed up. I couldn't deal with it anymore. It was too annoying, and I just don't like the Riddler. So I just left that as it was. The second thing, Azrael was just reduced to a regular side mission. Why did they do this? They built him up in Arkham City where he might take Batman's mantle. He's just a regular side mission in this. And for one of the side mission endings, you actually put him in prison. What were they thinking? This was such a good character that they built up throughout the whole game as well. You play as him, you do the training sections, and like I said, you fight like Batman, but still, what a waste. What a waste of a good character. And speaking of waste of good characters, Hush as well. Hush was reduced to a 2-part side mission. Why? Why did they do that to Hush? He impersonates Batman, Batman shows up, smashes his head on the table, that's it, no more Hush. Wow. And another thing, Deathstroke. Deathstroke and Batman go hand to hand almost all the time. Deathstroke has shown that he is one of the few villains that could actually beat Batman. He has taken out Batman several times, he's fought Batman several times, he studied Batman. Someone explain to me why he is reduced to a tank fight. I'm just gonna leave that as it is. One of Batman's most deadly foes is reduced to a tank fight. And when you beat him, all Batman does is kick him in the face and he's knocked out. Now, this is what I was saving the very end of the gameplay section for. The Batmobile. I will say this, the Batmobile does have a lot of fun sections. As I said, the chases are really great. Flying out of the car with Batman is great. Using the dual takedown with the Batmobile is amazing. But the Batmobile is so overused in this game. I remember halfway through the game, I was using the Batmobile almost all the time, and I thought to myself, wow, this is getting really stale really fast. And what made the Batmobile feel so overwhelming was just the amount of tank fights you would do. You would go from tank fight to tank fight to tank fight, and it just kept going. It felt like that was all they really had you do in the Batmobile. Sometimes just driving around and it was fun, but once I noticed that there was just so many tank fights with it, it just felt way over the top. The Batmobile, people have been saying that it's been overused for the longest time, so I'm not going to harp on that too much, but it is just overwhelming with the Batmobile after a certain point. I will say this though, this time around when I played the game, there were some weird glitches that I'd never noticed before.
Ace was just the start. Brace yourself, Batman. It's gonna be a long night.
Now, overall, I think that Batman Arkham Knight is still a great game. This definitely felt like the most fun Batman game that they've made. In terms of just the gameplay itself, it felt like a much more fun game than Arkham City. My main problems come with the story though. The Joker being back is something that I feel really did hurt this game a lot more than it helped. Mark Hamill, of course, he does a great job because he's been playing the character for so long at this point. But the game didn't need the Joker, that's the problem. The game had such a great setup with Scarecrow. They built him up. Like I said, you actually felt that Scarecrow was a threat. But for some reason, they pushed him in the back and put Joker in the forefront, and I don't understand why they did that. What I'm thinking is this. They felt that they would be safe with the Joker because the games so far have had Joker, Joker, Joker. Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Origins. They all have the Joker as the main threat. Now, this is what created a problem for Arkham Knight. there's that level of comfort that they had with the Joker. Instead of branching out and trying something new, making Scarecrow the main threat and just not having Joker in the game, they played it safe and they kept Joker in the game, pushed Scarecrow to the side and made it all about the Joker. That is what really hurt the story, because it does retcon everything that happened in Arkham City. It doesn't make sense for the Joker to be back because Batman is cured. It doesn't make sense for Batman to slowly turn into the Joker because, like I said, he's supposed to be cured. Another issue I had with the game was the Batmobile. The Batmobile felt a little overused. This time around when I played it, I definitely didn't have as much fun with the Batmobile. I thought it was more of a hindrance than anything else. The amount of tank fights that they have you do, man, every section I felt like there was at least 5 to 6 tank fights. There was probably even more than that. But that being said, the way that they handle some characters feels a little more interesting. Azrael in particular, this time around you get to play as him. You get to see his story. You get a better understanding of why he's trying to do what he's trying to do. Jason Todd, even though he is the Arkham Knight, there is still a build-up to why he is the way he is, and they show you that in the game, which is really great. Batman, his story comes to an end where he's no longer Batman at the end of the game. So the way that they deal with some of the characters, it does feel really satisfying, and the gameplay is still really fun. Now the question was, does this game still hold up 5 years later? I'm going to be 100% honest and say, yeah, this game definitely does hold up. The gameplay and the characters and their arcs, it does feel satisfying. Except for the Riddler races, those are just freaking annoying. But the game itself is a great game. I would be lying if I said anything otherwise. Thanks for watching the video. This was my very first YouTube video. Let me know what you thought about it. Let me know if you agree, if you disagree. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to get some feedback. Share it with your friends. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And stick around, because I'm going to have a lot of content coming soon. Take care.